we pivot once again.
Pivot!
We pivot, as Lindsay would like to say, to our next guest. By the way, Dave, would you care to do the honors?
A dear friend, personally and professionally, is about to join us, Elisabeth Barna, who heads up now EAB Strategies.
Brilliant woman!
Yes. And Elisabeth has always been one of these people that you could call her at 2 in the afternoon or 2 in the morning and she'll answer on the second ring because she was always up working. Hopefully you get a little bit more rest now, but thanks for being with us. But you're out in Salt Lake City.
I am, and thanks so much for having me.
Elizabeth, okay, so Elizabeth sent me an email and says I'm in Salt Lake City, and for some reason I heard Las Vegas in my head, so I said, well, have a
Very
great
different place, very emotionally different place. The inhabitants are in a different place.
Exactly. And to that point, so I said, she says, hey, I'm in Salt Lake City, not Vegas. I said, oh, my bad. I said, my first impression of Salt Lake City back in the 80s when I first went there was the ear signs.
What are you talking about?
Okay, you get a convenience store gas station on the side of the road, and you would see a big sign that said EER. Oh, well, what is that, right? Well, they couldn't put the B in front, right, Elizabeth?
Right.
Couldn't put beer on a sign out there. I don't know if that's still the. Did you see any of those?
Did they have Oka-Ola there, too?
Oka-Ola, yeah.
Well, we were here one year for truck driving championships, and we went out to dinner, and, folks had a beer, and then they went to order a second one, and the waitress said, well, you have to finish that first one, and I have to take the glass before you can order a second one.
Oh, my God, I never got that far. Oh, my goodness gracious alive. So anyway, you're out there talking to some pretty high-powered people. You're out there at a conference. Maybe you can give us a thumbnail on the conference, and then you'll be talking to Judy McReynolds and Leo Ron.
That's right. Yeah, I'm at the SMC³ conference, and they've got 2 a year. This is their summer meeting, and they're basically a transportation data technology group. They have a great pricing model for LTL carriers, and they're expanding that to truckload. But they do these conferences, and it's really good networking for them. But folks come, and then they meet with their 3PLs, so they all have their own little conference rooms too. But they've got a great program lined up. And so they start this morning off with Scott Hamilton because, of course, we're in the city where the Olympics were held and will be held in 2032. But he's the keynote this morning. And then I am going to be interviewing ArcBest Chairman and CEO Judy McReynolds, which is exciting. I've known Judy for over 20 years. And so we'll get to dive into, what she's thinking about that economic environment, their technology, what they're using, if they're using AI, how they started out as just an LTL company, and they're really a fully service integrated logistics corporation now. So, ask some of those kind of questions and learn a little bit more about what's on her mind.
Indeed. And then you're talking with Leo Ron, and for those who don't know the name, and I'm just kind of learning the name myself, and I should have known it a long time ago. He started and is the CEO of Uber Freight, and we're kind of zeroing back to the gig economy right there, huh?
We are, and it's exciting. I have never met him. I'm having breakfast with him in a little bit. To meet him, I'm filling in for a reporter that was unable to come. So, just to meet him before I interview him later today will be great. But, the cool thing about him is he grew Google Maps from 1 million users to 1 billion. And, that's one thing that we can all really relate to is, what did we do before Google Maps? We had like the AAA, page by page turn.
Triptych.
Yeah.
Everybody was lost a lot. But, so I get to interview him, and his background is really interesting. He started in the Israeli intelligence army and then transformed over here and has really focused just on technology and AI. So that'll be really exciting.
You know, when you plan a conference and as the conference planners, and then when the attendees and the participants like you come in, or we come in, we all think there's a theme and there's an agenda, and then something happens 20 minutes before it starts. What happened 20 minutes ago? You know what I mean? This year,
Exactly.
what was the focus, and what's the focus shift, if there is one?
I did a lot of conferences at my time at APA, so you always have to have a plan B and C. That's for sure.
And has there been a shift?
go ahead.
Has there been a shift, Elizabeth? Has something changed?
Not yet. It starts in it starts in about an hour, so we'll see. But I did have dinner last night with a good friend of yours, John Esparza.
Oh, John Esparza, yeah.
Yep, he is going to be here on a border panel, talking about that. And so we got to catch up and have dinner. I've known John, forever too. And he's excited. He said you guys are coming out to his conference again this year, and couldn't say enough great things about the Nemo team.
Oh, thank you so much. And by the way, just to let our listeners know, Elizabeth brings up a point. It is our first trip as, in our new platform, in our new existence. We're going to be going from TXTA and doing that thing. Elizabeth, I'm going to shift to something really fun here for a second. We've been asking everybody else. We might as well include you in on this nonsense.
Hot homemade chocolate cocoa.
Oh, my God. Well done.
Well
done.
Stay listening, you guys.
Oh, fantastic. Can you contextualize a little bit of it for us? Because I can actually...
Yes.
Go ahead.
I grew up in Pittsburgh in the sort of the country, and we would use our sleds or whatever we could find to go down the hill and then trudge all the way back up. And my mom would open the door, and, all the kids in the neighborhood, we would go in, and she'd have, 2 huge pots of hot cocoa on the stove for us and marshmallows, and you could just smell it a mile away. It was the best childhood memory you could ever have.
Oh, that's fantastic. By the way, I can tell you one of my favorite food smells is my mom is one of 7 kids, and each one of them was in charge of a particular holiday. My mom got Halloween, and so right as the weather would turn fall, on Halloween night, she would make barbecue beef brisket. And literally everybody in our family would go over there before hitting the neighborhood for Halloween. So even when I go in the summer to go get barbecue beef brisket and I smell it, I'm like, why do I suddenly have the urge for a mini Snickers bar? I don't know what's happening in my life. Elizabeth, where can people find out more about you? Because we got to shuffle off this radio call. We've only got a few moments left. Go ahead.
My LinkedIn page, Elisabeth Barna. I'm at eabstrat.com too, Elisabeth.Barna at eabstrat.com.
Do us a favor, by the way, when you get some more fun information, I know you got a direct pipeline to Dave. You've been a friend throughout this whole process. So keep us informed. Let us know what's going on over there. We will drop in information about what's happening at the conference this week on Road Gang Radio as well. So just keep us in the loop and let us know what's going on. We love you.
We love you too. Thanks, you guys. Have a great show.
You too, Elizabeth, and enjoy an ear out there when you're there.
Yeah.
I sure will.
little Oka-Ola and a little bit of ear and a little bit of offie.
Yeah.
There you go.
We're
We're a little off here, by the way, on Nemo Nation.